Once upon a time, there lived a boy with his mother. The mother had only one eye and was half blind. The boy was ashamed of his mother in front of his friends because she was not as beautiful as the other children's mothers. Every morning, the mother prepared lunch for her boy to take to school. And like any other day, the boy would dress up, take the lunch his mom had prepared, and go to school. One day, the school announced a ceremony where all the parents would attend to witness their children's performances. That morning, while the boy was having breakfast with his mother, he told her not to attend the ceremony. He said that if his friends found out that his mother was ugly and had only one eye, they would make fun of him, and he did not want to be embarrassed. The mother listened to her boy silently and said nothing. And so, the boy left for the ceremony. After a while, the mother secretly went to the ceremony because she loved her son and wanted to see his achievement. However, she was also aware that if others saw her, it might bring a bad image to her son. So, she stood quietly in a corner and watched the ceremony from afar. The children began receiving prizes, and she was very proud of her son. As the ceremony was coming to an end, she decided to leave. But as she was walking away, some of the children began making fun of her because she was ugly and had only one eye. When the boy saw the commotion in the crowd, he went to see what was happening and discovered that it was his mother. The other children, realizing that she was his mother, began making fun of him as well. Out of embarrassment, the boy ran away from the crowd. Later that evening, the mother had prepared dinner and was waiting for the boy to return home. When he finally came home, he saw his mother weeping silently. However, he said nothing, did not eat the food his mother had prepared, and stormed straight to his room. Days and years passed. The boy, determined to escape his embarrassment, studied very hard and finished his schooling with top grades in his school. Soon it was time for the boy to move to the city and work for a big company as a white-collar professional. Very often, the mother wrote letters to her boy, but he never replied and never returned home. Years passed, and the mother grew old. She longed to see her son again. One day, she packed some of her belongings and, with a small note containing her son's address, set out to find him. She walked for days until she finally reached the city. Clutching the small address note, she searched for her son. Eventually, she arrived at the door of his house and, with shaky hands, rang the doorbell. When the door opened, a little girl came out. Upon seeing the old, ugly woman with only one eye, she became frightened and started crying loudly. Hearing the child cry, a man came to see what was happening. It turned out that the man was her son. He now had a family, and the little girl was her granddaughter. The mother wanted to greet her granddaughter and hold her, but seeing that the child was terrified, she simply apologized politely and said she was looking for her son but must have come to the wrong address. Then she walked away silently. The boy was deeply moved because he knew she was his mother, but he said nothing. He did not want his new family to know that he had a one-eyed mother. A few months later, the boy received an invitation from his former school announcing a reunion ceremony. He returned to attend the ceremony. After it ended, he decided to visit his old home and check on his mother. He walked to the house and stood at the door. For a moment, he wondered if he should go inside. But then he decided not to, and he turned around to walk away. However, feeling a sense of guilt, he went to the window to take one last look. As he looked inside, he saw an old woman sitting near the window. It was his mother. She was holding something in her hand. He moved closer to see what she was doing. Then he realized she was holding a letter she had written, and she was weeping. As he read what was written in the letter, it said, "My dear boy, this will be my last letter to you, as I am growing old. Before I go, I want to tell you something that I have kept from you for so long. I was once a beautiful person like everyone else. I had both of my eyes, your father was alive, and we were a happy family. But one day, when you were still very little, your father, you, and I were traveling in our car when we met with a terrible accident. Your father lost his life, and you were severely injured. You lost one of your eyes. I was the only one who was not injured. But when I looked at you, my child, I could not bear the thought of you growing up imperfect and blind. So, I gave you my eye, so that you could live your life perfectly. Before the letter even ended, the boy burst into tears. He rushed through the door and hugged his mother tightly. He confessed his wrongs and admitted that he had never cared for her, even though she had given up everything for him. He told her how much he loved her. The mother, weeping calmly, embraced her loving boy and said, "You have always been my only world." Later, the boy took his mother to meet his new family. But now he was no longer ashamed that his mother had only one eye. Instead, he proudly told his wife, his daughter, and all the neighbors, "She is my mother who gave me her eye so that I could see the world perfectly today." And with that, they lived happily ever after.